Welcome to Proven and Probable. Today we're going to highlight a project January that we believe has the potential to see its stock price melt up. That's correct, melt up. But before we begin, I would appreciate if you click the subscribe button and click the bell. Now, on to today's interview. Mr. Cole, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Maurice. Always my pleasure.
As a very proud shareholder, let me be the first to say congratulations as EMX Royalty recently rewarded shareholders with a 9-year high. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, we have 6x'd the stock price in the last 4.5 years. It's good to see the market recognize the portfolio growth.
Let's discover what distinguishes EMX Royalty and why, for the second year in a row, I plan to match my bullion purchases with shares in the royalty generator. Mr. Cole, for someone new to EMX Royalty, please introduce the business model and the opportunity the company presents to the market.
Yeah, it's always good to focus on the business model of EMX Royalty Corporation because it is different than our royalty company peers. The bulk of the royalties in our portfolio, Maurice, were generated using the royalty generation method, which is the prospect generation business model focused on the royalty component. So we acquire large tracts of prospective mineral rights around the world, utilizing our geologic talent, add value by building up geologic models to illustrate the prospectiveness, sell those on to an industry that's hungry for new discovery opportunities for a combination of cash, shares, work commitments, annual payments, and always a royalty on the back end. And we've been doing this now successfully for 17 years. We've sold 46 projects, creating 46 new royalties just in the last 2.5 years, as an example. The one thing that I'm proud of about EMX is the deal flow that we have on the generative side through that royalty generation methodology. Now, we don't stop there. We also buy royalties to augment that portfolio, and the integration of generating royalties, utilizing our geological expertise and having those same entrepreneurial geologists identify royalty acquisition opportunities is very powerful. And some of the key royalties we have in our portfolio, we were able to acquire because we found out about it and because we had feet on the ground and ears to the railroad tracks. The third thing that we do to round out our unique business approach is make strategic investments, where that same team of entrepreneurs is identifying strategic investment opportunities. And our return on invested capital in our 17-year history is a 40% internal rate of return on invested capital. It's fantastic. That's helped maintain our treasury throughout our history. Puts us in a situation today where we have nearly as much money in the bank as all the money we've raised in the history of the company, plus 150 some mineral property positions around the world.
You know, one of the things that resonated with me in our last interview, you said that royalties are powerful financial instruments, and they certainly are, and we're going to find out exactly why here in today's interview. You know, EMX Royalty has a commanding global property bank filled with generative projects that continue to demonstrate the company's proof of concept in business and geological acumen. Let's visit some of your projects and find out the latest details that have shareholders excited. Beginning in Turkey, take us to the Balya lead, zinc, silver property and provide us with some background on the transaction. And when does EMX Royalty expect to start seeing a sizable royalty payments from the property? And what kind of cash flow are you expecting?
Oh, well, that's a good question, Maurice. We've been in Turkey a long time. We cycled through over 250 licenses in that country executing our business model, and there are 3 mines being built and constructed on our properties where we have royalties. The most important one is Balya, as you are highlighting. That one goes into full-scale commercial production in late 2020, so another 5 months from now. It might go a little over into the first quarter of 2021, but it's expected to ramp up into 2022 into full production. 5,000 ton per day mill has been constructed, and we're very excited about this, and we expect to see multiple millions of dollars per annum in cash flow, 3 to 4.5, depending upon throughput and lead, zinc, silver prices from this asset. This asset alone, which is organically grown through the royalty generation model, will be worth more money than all the money that I've spent in royalty generation in the history of the company. It speaks volumes to the astute allocation of capital and intellect that royalty generation is.
If you like the numbers on the Balya, wait till you hear about the Timok copper gold mine in Serbia. Ladies and gentlemen, this project is a monster. Mr. Cole, provide us with an overview on the Timok and what can shareholders expect to see from regarding cash flow in the treasury here?
Yeah, so Timok is the monster in the portfolio. And you mentioned that royalties are phenomenal financial instruments, and that's because of their embedded optionality to the royalty holder that comes at no cost to the royalty holder. And we own a portfolio of royalties in the Timok magmatic complex in Serbia, which is Europe's largest historic copper and gold producing region and the site of one of the most significant copper and gold development stories on the planet, now being advanced by Xinjiang, a Chinese company, who have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Serbian government to invest $474 million to put into production the upper high-grade portion of a big deposit that they have found there. And we have a royalty that covers the upper zone as well as the lower zone. And in the upper zone, according to the bankable feasibility study that was filed, we will see royalty income flow around $2.5 million per year at prevailing copper and gold prices. However, when they get into the lower zone, which is huge, Maurice, it's a 1.7 billion ton resource at 0.86% copper and 0.18 grams per ton gold, and we have a 0.5% royalty on that. You can do the math. It's worth a whole lot of money, and that's the company making royalty in our portfolio. Not to speak poorly on any of the other royalty assets we have, but this one stands out as an absolute company maker. We're very pleased to have exposure to that. Those are both commodities that we like. And thanks to the most important part of royalty optionality, which is discovery, there's 12 drill rigs turning on that property, continuing to delineate more resources to our benefit.
Moving to the United States, take us to the Rawhide Gold Silver Mine, which is in the Walker Lane Gold Silver Belt of Nevada. What sort of annual cash flow are you expecting from that investment now and looking into the future?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and this falls in the strategic investment camp. It's not a royalty. And we bought those shares, and we're contributing intellectually as well as financially to the success of this mining operation. We own 19.9% of the private company that is in production, producing gold, currently producing about 100 ounces of gold equivalent doré per day, with a view towards doubling production with the permits that we have in hand to increase our crushing capacity there. And we're very bullish with respect to cash flows. We do have a 43-101 report that is in progress, and once that's completed, then I can give specific details about our anticipated cash flow from the property. But we do expect this investment to have a healthy internal rate of return. We bought that at $1,400 gold and modeled it at $1,400 gold. We might have modeled it at $1,350. It was a great investment. At $1,750, it's an absolute cash cow. And this will be another multi-million-dollar per year dividend-paying asset that we have on our books.
Moving up to Alaska, where EMX consummated a strategic investment a year ago that looks very promising in Millrock Resources on the 64 North project. What are the terms on the deal, and do you have any updates for the shareholders?
That's a really good deal. It's win-win. We really think Millrock is doing a fabulous job. Greg Beischer's running a great ship there. They've got their hands on a tiger of a district. We're very, very pleased with the work they're doing. We're happy that we were able to make a positive contribution. The structure of the deal from EMX's standpoint is that we invested money into share equity in Millrock and also purchased a block of royalties covering grounds in that district from them and put royalties onto projects that they had to help give them the money to be able to advance that forward, attract a good partner, and now they've got drill steel going in the ground, and they're hitting great geology. And because of the move in the gold price, augmentation in the capital markets on the natural resource side, as well as the very favorable geologic indicators that are coming out of the project, their shares have done very, very well. So by the time you factor in the increase in share value, those royalties have a negative cost basis to EMX. So we're very, very, very pleased. We're happy to have that optionality of owning the shares in Millrock in addition to 235,000 acre percent. That's our percent royalty times acres of which they are applied to in the Good Pasture District around the Pogo mine.
Sorry for the interruption, folks, but I do want to remind you, everything we're covering today with David Cole, you can find in the description box below. And if you like our content, I would appreciate if you give us a thumbs up. Now, back to the interview. Speaking of another strategic investment, back in February, EMX Royalty made another remarkable transaction with Insuro Solutions. Can you walk us through, and what is this all about?
This is another example of EMX thinking laterally. And Insuro Solutions, if they're anything, they're just aqueous chemist geniuses. These guys have figured out methodologies for treating acid mine drainage incredibly well and inexpensively, makes them very popular with people that are concerned about the environment. That also facilitates social license, and they have a track record of unlocking mineral value of properties. And we helped take them private. They were in a public company, Alexco, where they had an excellent beginning, and a huge success story at the Keno Hill property in the Yukon. We provided the funds for them to go private, became a 7.5% equity holder in the company, and also have a preferred share that's structured similar to a loan, where we put in $3.8 million and get paid back $8.5 million over a 7-year period. So that's nice continued income flow immediately into EMX. But the most important part of the whole deal is that we have a regional strategic alliance to find environmentally encumbered assets with high prospectivity to come in and solve the environmental problems and unlock the mineral potential. And we see a number of different key assets in the West where we can accomplish this.
Switching gears, let's look at some numbers. Mr. Cole, please provide us with the current capital structure for EMX Royalty.
It's pretty simple and pretty good. We're sitting here with plus $45 million US dollars in cash, plus $50 million US dollars in working capital, and no debt.
Speaking of the cash, what are your plans for that big pile of capital?
So we're going to continue to do what we've always done, and that's execute our three-pronged approach. And we're continuing to fund our generative business, which is our bread and butter. And that's where the ideas come from for the strategic investments, and that's where the opportunities come from to buy royalties. Now, with more money in the bank, we can lever up our strategic investing and royalty purchasing, but not at the expense of our royalty generation business. That's our core.
Looking forward, multi-layered question. What is the next unanswered question for EMX Royalty? When can we expect a response, and what determines success?
Well, ultimately, success is us continuing to ramp up the value of our portfolio, ramp up cash flow, and see the market recognize that and move our share price forward. I believe that our share price has lagged the growth of the portfolio in the recent past. We're in the process of people starting to wake up and realize that we're sitting on assets such as the Timok project in Serbia, the Leeville royalty in Nevada, operated now by Barrick, where they're finding a lot of gold. All these things accumulating up to a portfolio that is enhancing in value continually thanks to the positive optionality of these phenomenal financial instruments. And this is a buy and hold business model. And you've seen my insider trades, Maurice. I've been buying for 7 years now.
Yes, sir.
Haven't sold a share of stock. I've been exercising my options, holding them. Been buying out of the open market. I accumulated roughly 200,000 shares during the COVID dip, as an example. And ultimately, it's going to be better market recognition of an enhanced value of our portfolio.
Last question, sir. What did I forget to ask?
Well, you're always pretty good at covering things, Murray, so let me think about that for a second. You always ask me that, so I should always have one on the sidelines. So.
Well, how about this? Has anyone told you look like David Letterman?
I have heard that before. I had somebody come up to me on the streets of New York and just getting ready to ask me for a autograph, and then I think they realized that I was probably a few years younger. But I need to come up with some good David Letterman lines. And the top 10 reasons to buy EMX Royalty Corporation are: 1. Maurice Jackson says to buy the stock. 2. Rick Rule says to buy the stock. 3. Paul Stevens says to buy the stock and owns a lot himself. How about that? Number 4, the CEO has been insider buying for 7 years. Number 5, a portfolio that continues to grow in value. Number 6, exposure to copper and gold, two of the best metal commodities there are.
Well, one question I forgot to ask is, can you just share with us, what is the prime objective of what you're looking for, the minerals that you're looking for?
So we've always loved copper and gold, and we have a lot of geological expertise. And our whole business premise starts with people. We have strategic advantage because of their intellect and their experience, and then we build on that with respect to the business model. And we have a lot of geological expertise around the geological terrains that host copper and gold deposits, and a growing amount of expertise around polymetallic systems, volcanogenic massive sulfides. And we do believe that it behooves us to be exposed to copper, cobalt, nickel, PGEs, lead, zinc, other metals as well. And so we're happy to have a diversified portfolio focused on dominantly metal commodities.
Mr. Cole, if someone wants to get more information on EMX Royalty, please share the website address.
emxroyaltycorp.com.
Mr. Cole, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking to you in the very near future. And by the way, I'm sorry if I forgot to ask this question here. You're going to be part of the Sprott Natural Resource Symposium, is that correct?
That is correct. Looking forward to it.
All right. We look forward to seeing you there, sir.
It's always a good one.
All right, sir. All the best to you.
Take care, Maurice. Thank you.
EMX Royalty trades on the TSXV symbol EMX and on the New York Stock Exchange symbol EMX. EMX Royalty is a sponsor of Proven and Probable, and we are proud shareholders for the virtues conveyed in today's message.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.